Hi, I'm Rania, founder of R2R Coaching. I am a relationship coach, a Reiki practitioner. I practice energy healing in several modalities. I've been a blogger for a few years now and soon to be published writer. But I do these videos right here on my channel in order to educate about several relationship topics. The series that I've invested a lot of my time and effort in is this series of Narcissism. It seems to be that in this day and age, everyone is experiencing a narcissist in their life. Or maybe you've already been subjected to narcissistic abuse, but never knew how to label it, never knew what was really going on. But now, because there is more knowledge, we're able to label it. We're able to understand the people that we end up in relations with, whether it be partnerships or their family members or their co-workers or their friends. Narcissism is out there and it's real. And the more you educate yourself about how to handle them, how to cope being in such relationships, better yet, learn how to escape the relationship and leave it behind and then heal from it. This is what I'm here to do. This is why all of my videos are going to be mostly intense. Of course, I'm going to try and make it humorous, but there's not much humor in narcissism and being abused. Please do subscribe to my channel. Share them with your friends. Share them with someone who needs to hear the message that I am putting out there. I put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of work into it because I want to help others who don't have the knowledge. Because once upon a time, I didn't have the knowledge. I wasn't very well educated. Hell, I didn't even know what narcissism was just a few years ago. But now I can tell you, I know a lot more, and thank God that I do, because it's helping me a great deal. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for watching, and thank you for sharing. Hello, and welcome once again to my channel. This video right here is a quick addition to an already recorded video about the topic of gaslighting. I've split them into two separate videos due to the length. I guess when I was recording the third section of the topic of gaslighting, I got a little carried away. So in order not to make it a really long video, I've decided to split it into two. So the first video, part 1, will entail section 1 and section 2 of the topic, and this video right here to follow this one is section 3, which is how to respond to gaslighting, some tips that I'm sharing with you that hopefully may help you. Now we're moving on to the third section of this topic of today, which is how to respond to gaslighting. I'm going to be sharing with you some tips, a list that I've put together that may help in handling a situation where you're most likely arguing with a narcissist, your partner, and you're trying to find the best way to come out of it while being safe. It's something that I've practiced personally in my previous experience with the narcissist, and some of those methods worked. I wasn't always able to succeed in following the advice that I'm just about to give you, because it is difficult. It is difficult, and you try your best. Okay, I've numbered them, but they're not necessarily need to be done in this order. They're just ideas and tips based on the situation that you are facing. You will handle things accordingly. The first point that I'll be sharing with you is the most important one, is to make sure that you are educated about all the gaslighting tactics. Be aware of what the signs are. Okay, and the second point is to recognize the gaslighting method as it's happening. while the narcissist is gaslighting you, you need to be able to pick it up and say, hey, I'm being gaslighted right now. Don't be too excited, obviously, because this is not something fun, but just to be aware that, okay, it's happening, and to get yourself into the gear of how to respond to it. Number 3, maintain your cool and try not to engage in an argument with the narc as he's gaslighting you, as you notice that he's gaslighting you. Number 4 is to remain confident in your version of the events of the story, and do not allow the narc to mess with your mind, because that's what their intention is at the end of the day. Number 5, listen to the narc. It's very important. Listen to them and do not interrupt them. And when they're done, let them know that you heard them and that you appreciate them sharing their thoughts with you. And you also let them know firmly that you choose not to respond at this time, and that you'd like to take some time, that when you're cooled off, because you're not very calm right now, and that you will discuss this at a later time. Most likely they will push you to react, because again, that's their agenda. But maintain what you said and repeat it if you have to, until hopefully they walk away from you after their rant. But do not allow them to poke at you and succeed in forcing you to engage in a fight. Okay, don't give them that. Number 6, if you're losing it while they're pushing your buttons and saying hurtful things, because that's what they will do, you can count from 1 to 10 in your head. You can try to take a few breaths without making it obvious that you are, just to calm your nervous system, because at this point you're in fight or flight mode. It's inevitable. That's exactly what's going to be happening to you. Or you can, I don't know, find something to hold in the palm of your hand and just squeeze it. It's been known to release stress. So if you can do that, or whatever method that you would use in a situation where you're anxious and you're under stress, try to use them when you're in a situation with the narc like that. Number 7, if all these methods fail and they haven't stopped pushing, you can excuse yourself to go to the bathroom and take some time there to cool off, and go out when you're more calmer and you're able to handle more of the narc. And what you do is that you come out and say, okay, thank you for waiting. I'm back now. I'm here to listen to you. And then you at some point reiterate what you've said earlier about not wanting to respond at this time, and that you'll circle back when you're ready to talk about it. Number 8, which is a few things to remember here, main points. Look at them with intent. That's very important. Make sure that your facial expressions are showing interest in what they're saying. Let them finish all what they want to say. Even if you're dying inside to interrupt because what they're saying is ridiculous and it's lies and you're being accused of something that you didn't do, and it's making you boiling your blood, really, and you just want to react to it and say no, correct them. Hold it, hold it, hold it. It takes a lot of strength, but you can do it. You can do it, okay? If you have to tone them out while they're speaking for your sanity at some point, then just do that, and then return to hearing them what they're saying, because you don't want to miss out on everything they're saying. But if you're hearing them repeating the same thing and they're just going on ridiculous points, just tone them out if you can. Assure them that you acknowledge what they're saying. I understand. Okay, I see. I'm listening. And you can do the nod from time to time. This allows them to kind of see that you're engaged in the conversation, that you're actually listening to them. And at the end of the day, that's what they need, right? It gives them the validation and the attention that they were craving for. Their sick mind really wants to assert power. So let them believe that they have it. Want power? You have all the power that you want. Just make sure that you don't aggravate them, so you're not put in a dangerous situation. Okay. Number 9, when the rant is over, take some space from the incident, from the event that just took place, and don't allow what the narc said to affect you. Number 10, focus your attention on your mental health and well-being. You can do any activity that will restore back your inner peace. Listen to calming music, do some yoga, practice some meditation, journal, but make sure you keep that under lock and key. Or you can step out for a walk or a drive if you can. Number 11, call a trusted friend and talk about what happened. Make sure that you give them the background story as well. And make sure that when you do that, they're not in the house. Do it when you're outside of the house. Okay, if they're in the house, you leave to have that conversation. Or if you need to talk to your friend, like if you can wait and talk to your friend later, wait until they leave, then you can talk. Just make sure that they're not around, because they will be listening to your conversations. They don't know what privacy is. They have no respect to you or to your privacy. And they actually want to know what you're saying and what you're doing. They're very curious. So be careful that any conversations that you're having while they're in the same space as you, same house, same apartment, same whatever, they're listening to you and they're snooping through your stuff. You know, they're definitely going to be doing that. Number 12, generally speaking, you know that you're in a relationship with a narcissist. Okay. So whether you're in the relationship for the time being and eventually you're going to leave, or you're still undecided and you're trying to see it through, whatever the case may be, my advice to you is to make sure that there are people, trusted people, a few, not too many. You don't want to have a very big circle of people knowing what's going on. Just make sure that those people that you choose and you trust are aware of the situation that you are facing. Give them examples. Keep updating them regularly as things happen and escalate. The more information that those trusted people are aware of, the more you will be supported and protected. Hopefully it never comes down to that, but be prepared, because it may not just stop at gaslighting. It may turn into physical abuse. And that's when it really becomes dangerous. Okay? It's not just about arguments. Narcissists tend to lose their tempers. Their rage goes to a whole new level. And when that happens, you're in a dangerous situation. You don't know what they will do, because they're not thinking. They're just acting out of desperation. And they are mentally and emotionally unstable. That's who you're dealing with. Be aware of that. So if you're choosing to still stay in that toxic relationship, be aware. Okay? Be aware. Number 13, if you feel the need to seek professional help, please do so, and do so secretively. Do not let the narcissist know that you are discussing those private matters that happen between you and them behind closed doors to anyone else. The narcissist doesn't want anyone knowing what they're doing to you, because at the end of the day, they want to have control over you. And they wouldn't want anyone to know what they're saying, what they're doing, because they may be doubt instilled in you, and they may lose that control. Okay, so make sure that if you are speaking to a therapist, a counselor, a coach, whatever it is that you're choosing, make sure it's done privately and they don't get to know about it. Beware when you see signs of them trying to cut you off, or at least limit your interactions with your friends and family. Even if they make you feel like a little guilty for spending time with them and not, spending the time with the narcissist. It may seem as a genuine out of love, let's spend time together, or do this plan with your friend another time, but I planned this for us, why are you ruining the plans that I've put together? So you may think it's romantic at times that they're making plans without telling you, and they're surprising you because they just want to excite you. But it's not always. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it's not always their intention to keep you away from the other people in your life and to keep you all to themselves. But unfortunately, most of the times that's the case. They want to have you all to themselves. And little bit by little bit, you'll find yourself canceling your plans. And you're not able to go to functions anymore. You're not able to just visit your family because they always got something planned for you to do. And if you don't do it, then they'll guilt you for all the effort and the time and the money they've spent on it, and you're being ungrateful. They just wanted to show you love, but you're unappreciative. So be careful with that. That's part of the gaslighting. Okay. Number 14, if you are going to respond to them, remember you've said that you're going to circle back at them when you're ready to talk. When you're ready to do so, okay, make sure you do the following. First, you choose a time when they're in a good mood, okay? And give them the chance to accept or not accept continuing the discussion at this time. Let them feel that they have the power to have the discussion now or later when they're ready. Because you don't want them coming to you and saying, oh, well, now you're ready. Now you want to talk. Okay, well, yeah, now I am ready. But then you don't force it on them and say, okay, you better be ready. No, you say, I'm ready to talk. Are you? If you're not, we'll talk about it later. But I just want to let you know that I'm ready to talk now about this. I've taken some time to think about it, and I'm ready to talk about it now. Most likely, if you come across by giving them that power and giving them choice, most likely they will have the discussion right there and then. First thing you do is to thank them for being understanding and patient to allow you the time that you needed to regroup. And what you're going to do is that you're going to rephrase what they said in the previous talk by saying, I heard you say, ... And then you'll continue by saying your points, by saying, well, here are my thoughts about that, ... Now, they may already interrupt you when you're rephrasing, and they're going to try to gaslight you again by trying to make you question your memory of what you heard them say. But they'll be like, well, that's not what I said. I was really saying blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to start going on again. And that's when you'll have to like, okay, well, all right. That's not what I heard, but okay. But anyways, let me continue. You're going to have to do that. You're going to have to not, again, fall for the bait of them wanting to create it into a fight, into an argument in which they assert the power over you again, because they're never going to want you to have the power. They have to have the last say. They have to win at the end. It's all about winning for them. Winning what, I don't know, but they want to win. You have to come out wrong and they have to be right, and that's just how it is. So anyway, so you're going to rephrase what they said. You're going to say, here are my thoughts. And what you're going to do is that you're going to state facts, okay? And you're going to refrain from talking about feelings, because believe me, it's not going to get you anywhere. What you want to do is speak up about your views, state what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what you agree with, what you disagree with. And ultimately, what you're trying to do here is you're setting your boundaries. Something you know that they're never going to respect, but you need to state them anyway. And if you do disagree about what they said, you'll simply just say, I heard you, but my opinion is this, and I stick by what my views are, and I'm okay just simply letting it go and agree to disagree. Of course, they're not going to like that. And in the end, what you want to do is close the discussion by stating that you heard them and you hope that they heard you too. You're respecting their opinion and you'd like them to respect yours too. Fair? It's fair to them. It's not the outcome they want. At the end of the day, they're not having this discussion in order to have a resolution. They're not after resolution. They're just after complicating things and making things bigger than what they are and putting the blame on you and them removing themselves from the equation. They had nothing to do with it and it's all your fault. At the end of the day, that's what the outcome, that's their ideal outcome in every argument. And guess what they'll say? I don't want to argue with you. They'll always start with that. Listen, I don't want to argue with you, but, and then they argue. So they'll start by saying, I don't want to argue with you. That is a common phrase that all narcissists are going to say. I don't want to argue with you, but you, yeah, they really don't want to argue, right? Anyway, back to point number 15. Yeah, like I was saying, be aware that the issue that you're discussing may never get resolved. And you'd have to accept that, because it's not about the issue being resolved. And number 16, you also need to accept that you may never hear a genuine apology or feel any remorse from their part, or remotely them acknowledging fault or responsibility, really. Be prepared to never hear that. And on the topic of apology, you will hear them say, I'm sorry, but watch what comes after the I'm sorry. Listen carefully. They're actually not apologizing for what they did to you or for how they made you feel. They're gonna somehow, some way turn it back on you. So, I'm sorry that you feel this way. I'm sorry that you misunderstood. I'm sorry that you misunderstood. So the fault is on you again, not on them. You're the one that misunderstood. So they're sorry for you misunderstanding. You know, I'm sorry that you are hurt. You are hurt. They're sorry for that. They're distancing themselves from the action of what they're claiming to be sorry about. It has nothing to do with them. They're sorry you feel this way. They're sorry you misunderstood. They're sorry that you're hurt. They're sorry that you are thinking that way. Sorry for that. But they're not sorry. They're not saying, I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry I caused you this. I'm sorry that my actions led to you thinking this, feeling this, fill in the blanks. They're not going to admit it, ever. So don't wait for it. Don't wait for a genuine apology. It's not going to happen. And the sooner you accept that, the faster you can move on. Because if you're waiting for them to say a real I'm sorry, hold your breath. Please don't hold your breath. I know I'm getting excited here, but yeah, that's took me a while to figure that one out. Took me a while. I had a lot of hope that I will hear a genuine I'm sorry. Sorry for what? They're not sorry for anything. They feel totally justified for everything they've done. They did nothing wrong as far as they're concerned. It's your fault. It's all your fault. That's what they'll say to you. And that's what they believe. And they are totally convinced of that. They are totally convinced that they did nothing wrong. So yeah, don't expect a real apology. Number 17, be prepared also that during this whole discussion that you're having the second time around, that they may interrupt you time and time again. They may talk over you. They may distract you from the subject altogether and divert to another topic. And when this happens, here's what you can do. Now, while looking right at them, you hold your hand up like this and slightly away from your body, but not in their face. Don't come too close to them. And with a soft and low voice, you kind of lean in and say, may I interrupt you for a second? And they'll be like, whoa, what? Yeah? Because you surprise them. You take them by surprise. And you're like, may I stop you for a second? And they're like, yeah? And you're like, may I finish what I was talking about? When you talked last time, I listened all the way to the end, right? Yeah, so you'll have your chance to respond after I'm done. Can I please finish? Don't be afraid to do that again and again, because they will interrupt you again and again. They're incapable of sitting and listening to actually someone else have a point. They're just sitting there thinking of how they're going to respond to everything. And they'll use excuses like, sorry, I'm sorry, I know I'm interrupting you, because they know they are. Sorry, I know I'm interrupting you, but because I'm going to forget to respond to that point, so I just want to say it now before I forget. Take a mental note or take a piece of paper and start writing notes then. I don't know. But you don't need to interrupt me. Or you could ask me to repeat again later. What did you say about that? And then I'll repeat. Then you could respond. I highly doubt that their memory is that short and they're not incapable, but that they're not able to remember all the points that you brought up. It's there. They're very good at keeping mental notes. And the proof to that is that how they attack you with things in the middle of a conversation when you're talking about something else and they're bringing a whole different topic. How's the memory now? Or it only works that way. It doesn't work that when you have to wait to respond after I'm done to show me some respect here. But no, they don't know how to show you respect when you talk. they're more important. What they have to say is more important. What you have to say isn't important. They pretend that they're listening. Well, actually, listen. They will listen. They're listening very well to what you're saying because they want to retaliate with every point. Because they're going to find fault in everything that you said. No, that's not what happened. No, you misunderstood. No. They rarely agree with something you said. They will from time to time because they need to mix it up a bit. They can't say no all the time. So they will agree at some times, and they'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, you're right, you have a good point there. So they'll give you a few points. Oh, how generous. They'll give you a few points and validate your feelings. Okay, I understand that this could have made you feel that way. Okay, but that was not the intention. Again, absolving themselves from responsibility. Just because it was not the intention doesn't mean that you didn't end up making me feel this way by what you said or by what you did. If your actions hurt me, I don't care about what your intentions were. Anyway, I'll calm again. Let's move on. So, yeah, the tactic about getting their attention when they're interrupting you, talking over you, or whatever, is the simplest thing to do is to just stop for a second. May I please finish what I'm saying? Oh, okay. Finish what you're saying. Sorry. It's probably the most genuine sorry is the sorry without nothing after it. I want you to remember this, that generally they like to mimic you. So choose your methods wisely. If you are getting defensive, so will they. If you're getting angry, so will they. If you raise your voice, so will they. If you talk softer, calmer, and a lower voice, hopefully they will too. Anyways, we have to try. Number 18. Allow them the chance to respond after you finish. And be prepared that what you're gonna hear from them is gonna upset you. But if you've already stated what you needed to state, and they come back and it's as if they never heard a word you said, and almost repeat what they've originally said, or change the story altogether and it becomes a different story, be prepared for that. Don't respond again. Because you're just going in circles. You're dealing with a child. Ultimately, you're dealing with a child here. So you've tried to do this maturely. You've tried. They've said their piece. You told them, give me some time. You come back. Now you want to talk to them. And now you're giving them the chance to respond. And now they're being a child about it. Either pretending as if they didn't hear a word you said, or changing the story altogether and coming up with the new story. What do you think is going to change if you respond to them again? It's just going to be back and forth and back and forth and back. Because at the end, remember, they're not after resolution. They're after proving that they are right and you are wrong. They're not after finding peace. They're not after finding calm. They're not after anything positive that any mature person wants. That's not what a conversation / argument / fight with a narcissistic person would be like. It isn't. Sorry to tell you that. Number 19, be very patient. Okay? Make sure that when you are going to have this conversation, choose a time to do it when you are prepared emotionally and mentally. Because you know that you're going into a battle. You're going into a battle. A conversation with a narcissist equals battle. All the time. Every time. Small things, big things, necessary, not necessary. It's a battle. You need to be prepared for the battlefield. And the way to prepare is yourself. To be aware of your emotions, okay? Your triggers. Know that they're going to be triggering you because they know your weaknesses. They know your soft spots. So they will touch on it. Be aware of that going in to the battle. Don't allow yourself to react. We all react. Unfortunately, I do it too. I've gotten myself into nasty arguments and fights with my ex-narcissist that now I look back at it and I say, oh, Rania, you should have just not responded. You should have just not said a word. You know what he was trying to do to you. You know he was pushing your buttons. Why did you let it get to you? I had moments of weakness. I wasn't always strong. I can't always be strong. But the tips I'm giving you here, I know that some you'll be able to do, some you'll not be able to do, depending on the situation, depending on the day, depending on you, your emotional state, and the narcissist. There's so many factors here to consider. There will never be a perfect scenario. But at least some of the things that I'm sharing here with you, some of those tips that you can use, may help you in handling those battles. And not saying that you need to come out a winner. There's nothing to win here. It's true, when you think battle, war, there's always a winner and a loser. When you're in a dynamic with a narcissist, it's only lose. The only way you win with a narcissist is when you leave them behind and take care of yourself and get yourself out of the toxic relationship and the environment that you're living in. That's the only way you win. But while you're in the dynamic itself, you're coping. You're finding ways to exist, but you're not living. A relationship with a narcissistic person, you're not living. Slowly, slowly, you actually wither away. You lose the life force. You lose your energy because they are vampires. They drain you. Oh, they drain you. And you don't even realize it. It happens and you don't even realize it. Sometimes it's too late. I'd like to believe that there is no such thing as too late. If you're in your 60s and you've been with a narcissistic husband for 25 years, 30 years, whatever years you've spent, and you're watching this right now, and you're thinking, oh my God, this has been my story. Nothing I can do about it now. My life is over. It isn't. It isn't. It isn't over until your last breath. Your last breath is what makes it over. But up until that, up until you take your last breath, you can change your life. You can change the dynamic. You could escape this toxic and abusive environment. It doesn't matter what age you're at. It doesn't matter what circumstances you're in. The choice is yours, what you want to do. You want to keep trying. You're hoping that they're going to change. Good luck. You're wondering if you're capable of being on your own, starting this whole dating thing all over again. Just get out. Who cares what happens after? Figure it out later. Be in a relationship, don't be in a relationship. It doesn't matter. You have children with your narcissistic partner and you don't know how it's going to go? The courts will decide. Whatever the laws of the country that you're in, that's what will be. And if you're in a country in which it gives shared custody, I'm sorry to tell you, but you will be co-parenting and you will still be dealing with this narcissistic partner. Unfortunately, until, the kids get to a certain age where your communication with your narcissistic partner becomes less and less because you need less and less things from them. But for a while there, yeah, you will be entangled with them. Guess what? You'll have your freedom. You will no longer be subjected to abuse. You will not be gaslighted. Your realities are not going to be questioned. You're not going to be made crazy. You're not going to be pushed over the edge to react and to get angry. You're not going to lose your friends and family. You're going to be able to do the things that you love without feeling guilty about them. Your time will be your time, not dedicated to them and their needs and their demands. Nobody will own you. Nobody should be owning you. I say this with so much passion because I believe in what I'm saying. Because once upon a time, I was in that situation where I saw my life withering away. And I wondered, will I ever have my freedom again? Will I ever be able to breathe normally again? Like, actually take a breath in and out and smile. Smile not with my face, smile with my heart. Will I be able to have control over my life, not having it controlled? Will I no longer be subjected to physical abuse? Where my physical boundaries and space is violated? I wondered. I didn't give up. I knew that there was a different life out there for me after the narc. I knew it was not going to be easy, but I also knew that it can be done. And I had a great support system, family and friends that I loved them so dearly for standing by me, for believing in me, and for providing me with whatever I needed in the worst time of my life. I felt alone and helpless while I was in that narcissistic relationship. But after I left and I regained my strength again, my comments to my family and friends were, Ranya's back. I'm back. I'm being me again. But a new and improved version of me. Not the old Rania. New version of Rania. The happy and alive Rania. And that's what I wish for you. Whoever you are on the other end, I'm talking to you. You can do this. You can leave. Make sure you do it safely. Don't up and just tell them, I'm leaving. You need to be careful with the move that you make. Calculate it, plan it, think about it, have a support system, get professional help, and then do it. And remember, your plan is never going to be perfect. I made many plans, and none of them worked out the way it actually worked out. But it's okay to have a plan. And remember that you'll deviate from the plan. But the end result is you're free. You leave. And you never look back. I'm sorry I went on this. This is a rant. I don't know if this is a rant. It's more of a heartfelt advice from someone who's been there. And I just wish for every person that's suffering right now to find their way to healing. Find a way to live again and to love again. That's my wish. The last point here that I'd want to make, point number 20, is that in the initial gaslighting conversation that you have with the narcissist, you may not need to postpone and say, I'll talk to you another time about it, I'll circle back. You may just get it over with right there and then if you're able to handle it. But make sure that you remain calm, you stay confident, you don't lose your temper. Remember that you're dealing with an unstable person. And remember that their intention is to trigger you, for you to react, and for them to abuse you some more. And my advice to you is don't fall for the bait. Listen, nod, and no reason to respond. Understand that not every rant of your narcissist deserves a response. Save your energy, save your time. So one might ask, my God, why would anyone want to stay in such a toxic environment where you're on edge all the time? Can't have a mature conversation, can't have enriching interaction, can't feel supported or loved or respected. Why stay in this madness? Good question. Everyone must ask themselves this question. What makes you stay in this toxicity? What makes you allow this abuse to your health and mental well-being? Why live in such a hostile environment? Are you trauma bonded? Do you still have hope that they will change? Or are you afraid to leave for a particular reason? Or you just have no confidence that you can leave and start your life over no matter the circumstances? I mean, no matter the circumstances. It is great you're educating yourself. It is wonderful that you're watching all these videos. And it's helpful to learn all these tips. But until you take action to leave the situation, you will not get any better. You will not move forward. On the contrary, things are going to get worse. The abuse will escalate. And if you have energy, if you have any energy still left, it will all be sucked out by your vampire narcissist very soon. I promise you, that's what the end result will be. Gather up the energy and plan your exit plan. Seek professional help. Ensure you have a support system. Do not attempt to do this alone. You will require some help. I hope this video is an eye-opener for you. And if nothing else, you learned a few tips on handling your narcissist. Be careful, please. You don't know when they can snap. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Ciao, ciao. I hope you liked this video. Please do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. Thank you for watching.